Dear friend, as it pertains to you creating what matters, how do you really know which structure you're actually sitting in? Can you name each of these structures? Can you define each of these structures? Can you share the importance with another person of how each of these structures pertain to creating? Because in each of Robert Fritz's books, he goes into specifically the importance of naming, defining, describing each of these structures. Now, it's not just a car, and it's not just a rocking chair. Can you name each of these structures as it pertains to creating? If you can, there's a higher possibility you're able to create. If you can't, there's a lower possibility that you're able to create. Now, let's bring this to learning, to education. Does that help at all? What is it that we often hear from teachers after summer vacation? Children return to school and they have forgotten almost everything they learned. Does that pertain to the automobile? Or does that pertain to the rocking chair? Specifically, these structures in creating, the advancing structure, the structure we all want to be in, the structure we all believe we are sitting in, advances, we can now build upon that momentum, build more intricately, more involved, more complex, carry that momentum forward. The oscillating structure, like a rocking chair, a lot of hard work, caring, involvement, concern. Over a certain period of time, there is the oscillation going back to zero, having achieved no success and not able to continue that momentum. I had a very dear friend of mine who I've been sharing about creating for many years, and I delivered some tough love because I'm not seeing, hearing, touching, or smelling anything he has created. And he sent back to me in an email, he's in the turtle mode, or otherwise we could say the turtle structure. Now, do you see a turtle? Does Robert Fritz talk about a turtle or a rabbit structure? No. It's either we're in the advancing structure or we're in the oscillating structure. So to blame our inability to create on the turtle structure, we're not truly understanding. So how do we better understand these structures in education? Children return from school, and we hear the teachers say, our students have forgotten almost everything they learned. They are in the oscillating structure. So they do their best to hang on to the information that they're told to learn, told to memorize. They've not learned a proven, dependable, repeatable method for memorizing. So therefore, if we were to retest our students over a couple of days, several weeks, months later, that movement, that progress, almost back to zero. Imagine learning Algebra 1, trying to hang on to that information, then Algebra 2, geometry, and so on. The stress, the burden upon our children and our teenagers and our teachers is because they do not understand what they do not have as that foundation for learning. Sir Isaac Newton, all learning is but remembrance. So it is difficult for people to contemplate what could be in these books that would help me to better create what matters. And that's possibility of why people don't pick up these books, which should be in every household in America today. So I'm trying to share with you in a different way, specifically before we go into Robert Fritz's book Identity, because I'm not sure if this very important principle will be within these 200 pages. So for now, I'm laying that book aside. But as you can see, over here, we have all the information about, including this very important topic, very important principle of the two primary structures. Over here, we have the not learning, not practicing, not mastering, both memorizing and creating. Over here, we have a wealth of information. The book I recommend is my favorite book by Robert, Your Life as Art, where Robert's really saying Beethoven, Mozart, Steven Spielberg, all these great artists use a very specific method to achieve their goals. We're not taught that method. We've not learned that method, so we default to problem solving. We're not taught a method for memorizing, so we default to rote memory. Both problem solving and rote memory are extremely inferior because we're in the rocking chair. We're in the oscillating structure. If we learn a proven, dependable, repeatable method for both memorizing and creating, we're in the advancing structure. The choice is yours before we move on to identity. I hope you'll pick up one of Robert Fritz's books. And again, there's no third structure. There's two structures, oscillating and advancing. How do we really know which structure we're sitting in? It's very evident in education. It's very evident when we're tested and we can't remember. We've not created the memory. It's much more difficult to proof, and it's easier to default to an excuse, including, I must be in the turtle structure, slow but sure, making progress. No, I'm not buying it. I hope you don't buy it either. So before we advance for identity or together, please choose to learn a method for creating. Please choose to learn a method for memorizing. It's what's best for you. It's what's best for us, for America's children, for America's teenagers, for America's adults, for America's senior citizens. Thank you very much for participating.